Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you a super simple Dorian Mode hack so you can start getting that Dorian sound into your playing. So if you're finding you've maybe learned the Dorian Mode already and your solos are all sounding a little bit like this, where you're kind of really stuck in that scale shape, you can't get any music out of it, you're just playing repetitive patterns over and over again, stay tuned. I'm going to show you an easy hack that you can play killer licks in no time at all. In this lesson then, we're going to learn a super simple Dorian Mode hack so you can start playing the Dorian Mode scale as soon as possible. But if you haven't done it already, hit like to like the video, click subscribe to subscribe to the channel, and hit that alert bell so you don't miss any updates. If you want a PDF with everything I'm going to talk about in this lesson written out, you'll see a link below the description to a free workbook, so make sure you grab that. Right then, let's just get stuck into this. So first things first, I'm just going to show you the hack. Now, all of this lesson is going to be based in D minor. Okay, and we're going to start by simply playing a D minor pentatonic scale. That sounds like this. Okay, everyone's favourite scale on guitar. Now, probably a lot of you are thinking, well, I already know that. I want to learn the Dorian Mode. But wait, don't turn off yet. Here's the hack. To get the Dorian sound, which is this -6, -13 sound like this, you know, with modes, it's all about the sound. All we need to simply do is move that D minor pentatonic up 2 frets and play E minor pentatonic. And that is the hack. Now, I'm going to go into a lot more detail in this video. I'm going to explain why it works. I'm going to show you some licks and talk more about the Dorian Mode. But simply, that is the hack. If you want to easily create a Dorian Mode sound, just move up 2 frets from your home key. So in this case, it's D minor, and just play a minor pentatonic. So we're going to take a D minor 7 chord to create the Dorian sound. We're just going to play E minor pentatonic. Obviously, you can play D minor pentatonic as you're soloing anyway, as it is our home key. But you can also play an E minor pentatonic. So I'm just going to kick on a backing track, and I'm just going to loop around the scales really simply, just so you can hear how it sounds. It all sounds like this. Okay, so that was me just jamming around with a backing track, and I wasn't really doing a solo. I was literally just playing up a D minor and up an E minor pentatonic. No real music, no real thought into what I was doing, just up and down the scales, just to show you the sound, and you can really hear that Dorian sound. So often, when guitarists learn modes, what they do, they sort of learn all the 3-note per string shapes, and they like, yeah, I can play the modes, I can play the modes. Now, well, you can play the scale shapes, but when you play modes, the real understanding comes from creating the sound of that mode. So if that's all you take from that video, great. To really play a mode, it's all about understanding the sound. What is the sound of that mode is making? So there's one thing in knowing the scale shape, but there's another level of understanding is realizing to play a Dorian mode, you're creating a Dorian sound, not just playing notes on the fretboard, because otherwise all we're doing is playing patterns. And by using this trick, we are definitely creating a Dorian sound. Now, the chord behind the Dorian, if we're in D, is that sound. Okay, you can take it up there as well. Lots of different shapes you can play for it, but it's really getting that note there, which is the major 13th. So from D, because apart from that note, everything else is the same as it would be out of a natural minor of the Aeolian scale. Normally, in an Aeolian or a natural minor, we get that note. But in a Dorian, that's the big sound of a Dorian. It's a minor scale, a minor mode, so we want that minor sound, but we're getting some minor 6, minor 13, such a great sound. Okay, so let's look at why the E minor pentatonic, when we play over a D minor chord, why it gives us the Dorian. So let's just analyze the notes. In a pentatonic scale, normally if I'm going from a D, we'd get root, minor 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7, root. Now if I play E minor and I talk about how they relate to a D minor scale, well, an E is a 2nd or a 9th. A G is a 4th or 11th. Now that was in D minor pentatonic anyway. An A is a 5th. Now that's already in D minor pentatonic. So far, the only new note is that one, which is our 9th. So we're getting quite a cool 9th sound out of it as well, which definitely sounds a bit more jazzy, a bit more hip, and a bit more fusion. Now the 4th note, that one there, that's the note B natural. Now that is our 6th or 13th, major 6th or major 13th, which is the Dorian sound. And then the final note in the E minor pentatonic is the note D, which is our home key anyway. So really, the only addition, or the additions are a minor 9 and that 13th, okay? So if I do up an octave, they are the new notes. So it's almost like we're playing a D minor pentatonic and add in a couple of new notes. But that's the kind of theory behind it. Really, we just want to use E minor pentatonic and not really worry too much about the theory. But that's why it's working, okay? It's all notes out of the Dorian mode anyway. So if I play them all, we've basically just created a Dorian mode. So what I did there, I played D, there's E minor pentatonic, D minor pentatonic. That's an E minor pentatonic note. Both E minor pentatonic note, D minor pentatonic, and in both of them. So we just kind of, by adding those extra 2 notes, which were the 9th and the 13th, to the D minor pentatonic, we've gone from a 5-note scale, from a D minor pentatonic, adding 2, surprise, surprise, we've created a 7-note scale, which is the Dorian mode. So that's fundamentally all we're actually doing by playing an E minor pentatonic over the top of a D minor is we're just basically turning it into a Dorian mode. It's just the way of thinking about it, because it means then all of your licks you can play all the licks you'd normally do in D minor, you just play them up 2 frets, and you've made a Dorian sound out of it, okay? Which is what I'll do now. I'm just going to jam a solo over the same backing track. I'm going to play a bit more of a solo this time. I'm going to show you how licks work, and then once I've done that, we're going to learn a couple of licks for you to get the hang of this hack. So this all sounds like this. Okay, so that was just me noodling around a bit between D minor and E minor pentatonic, not thinking of the Dorian mode as such. I'm aware of the sound, but mainly just looking at my shapes and just playing some licks between. You probably noticed just a lot of pentatonic licks going between one to the other. So talking about licks, let's just learn a few licks. Do you have something as well to take away from this video as much as you'll have the knowledge of this hack, why it works? Let's have a look at a few licks. So this is lick number 1. Okay, that's lick 1, definitely sounds like a Dorian, and all we're doing is going D minor, E minor pentatonic, and ending in D minor. So we're going to start off, we're going to play the 10th fret on the B string, and we're going to play 10, 13, 10, 13, which is the top of a D minor pentatonic. Then we're going to slide up to E minor pentatonic and do 15, 12, 15, 12. So the start of the lick sounds like this. Okay, and then we're just going to keep coming down the E minor pentatonic. Slide back to the 10th fret on the G. Okay, so 10, 13, 10, 13, 15, 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 10. So that's back to D minor pentatonic. and then we're going to end with the 12th fret on the D string, which is our root note, the note D. Okay, so let me play that lick all the way through. Okay, but coming into it, we're going to start on an offbeat to make it sound a little bit cooler. So we get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and. Okay, let's get the metronome on. Here is that lick at 80 BPM. And again. Okay, so when I'm playing that lick, I'm using hammer and pull-offs and slides. You could pick it all. It doesn't really matter. Whatever fits with your playing. It's more just showing you how you can use this Dorian hack. Now, if you download that free workbook, you'll see I've written it out using 16th notes as well. That was 8th notes. So let me just play it once through, which is going to be sounding twice as fast. It's going to be pretty rapid. Here it is at 80 BPM. So all the licks then that we're going to learn, you can do twice as fast. That's it using 16th notes, but certainly start with the slow one I did first. Let me just go back to the slow version using 8th notes or quavers. I'm going to speed up a bit. Here it is at 100 BPM. Okay, let's move on. Here is lick number 2. Okay, so for that lick, I'm kind of seeing the top of a D minor and the top of an E minor pentatonic. Here's the top of a D minor. And here's the top of an E minor pentatonic. So I'm just kind of looping the ideas round and round like this. Then to an E minor. So 13, 15 on the B, 13, 15 on the high E, back to 13 on the high E, 15, 13 on the B, and that goes round and round. And then we change to the 12th fret on the high E, 15th fret on the high E, 15 on the B, 12 on the B, and we just loop that around. Now, as much as it's written out in tab at a certain length, you can literally just cycle them as long as you like. I could go around on that one for ages, then to the other one. Back to the D minor, E minor, D minor, E minor. It doesn't really matter. It's more of an idea, just showing you there's literally just one fret apart and you get a really, really cool lick. So let me just play that lick then. Here it is at 80 BPM. Okay, let's speed that up a bit. Here it is at 100 BPM. Okay, super neat little lick. Let's move on. Here's lick number 3. Okay, so that's just a little lick using one idea on a D minor pentatonic and literally transferring the same thing up 2 frets. So the idea or the lick was this. So I'm doing 10, 12 on the A, 10 on the D, and I'm just going to transfer the same pattern up 2 frets into the E minor pentatonic. So it starts on the D minor, same on the E minor, and then we're going to take the same lick, move it down a string. So 10, 12 on the D, 10 on the G, move it up to E minor. So from the beginning, I'm going to continue the pattern. So 10, 12 on the G, 12 on the B. Now that's our Dorian note. So and then one more time, we're going to do 10, 13, 10 on the high E, 12, 15, 12 on the high E. So it's just 3 notes. And that's just showing you where you can take an idea from a D minor pentatonic and then just transfer it over to an E minor pentatonic. And that works with every single lick that you're going to know already, okay? So let me just play that slowly all the way through. Okay, so you probably saw in that little jam I had earlier, I was just doing a lot of stuff like that where I play an idea and just move it up 2 frets. Now this sounds cool when you add a bit of speed. Okay, I'm not trying to break any Guinness Book World Records for speed, just that much speed really makes it interesting, especially over a backing track, okay? So let's do that with a metronome. It also starts on an offbeat, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and. Okay, so we're starting on the and after 1. Let's put the metronome on at 80 BPM and it all sounds like this. Okay, let's speed that up a bit. Here it is at 100 BPM. Okay, so that's just a few licks for you, and that's just really just showing you how you can take ideas and move them across between a D minor and E minor pentatonic. But that's such an awesome little hack that will work for every style of music. Certainly it's going to work for stuff like funky, fusion-y, jazz stuff, and it's going to really give you that kind of modal Dorian sound by literally just taking your pentatonic scale and moving it up 2 frets. So if you're in D minor, as we've been, you move it up to E minor. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you haven't done it already, hit like to like the video, hit subscribe to subscribe to the channel, and click the alert bell so you don't miss any updates. If you want the workbook with everything I've talked about, you'll see a link below in the description. So make sure you click that to get the workbook. I'll also chuck in the backing track that I jammed over the top with as well. Just a simple backing track I knocked up on Logic using this Logic loop. So at least it gives you something to kind of jam over. Also, if you haven't done it already, come and check out my online guitar school, Fretlix, www.fretlix.com. Loads of great courses and lessons guaranteed to help you become a better guitarist. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon.